You know what's funny? The moment a game finally has real competition, suddenly it remembers how to be good. And no, that's not a coincidence. Let's talk about why competition is good for gaming and why Battlefield 6 might be the best example we've had in years. Gaming companies love to tell us they're listening to the community. But let's be honest, most of the time, they only start listening when that bag starts to be endangered. When there's no competition, they get lazy, they ship half-baked games, they patch later, and then they sell the solutions back to you. But when another game shows up and starts eating their lunch, oh, now they care. Look at what happens when a franchise dominates a genre with no real threat. Annual releases, minimal innovation, same mechanics, new coat of paint, and somehow worse performance. Because honestly, why improve when you already have your audience locked in? We all know who we're talking about here. It's Call of Duty, the franchise. I'll just use Warzone as an example. I've seen Warzone literally not change since it launched in 2020. Like, it's literally gotten worse. And I feel like at one point they were like changing shit just to change it. And just to say that it's a new version of the game to keep people still playing, but they never really addressed the issues that were a problem with that game. And that's not passion. Like, Call of Duty used to have a lot of passion in everything that you used to play. I wasn't even the biggest Call of Duty player, but I remember those campaigns and I remember those original lobbies that they had in multiplayer that were so much fun because they cared about making the best shooter on the market. But once they reached the pinnacle of success and they just wanted to repeat it over and over again, and they stopped taking risks, they just became complacent. Just pure complacency. It should be call of complacency. And the reason why they do that is because it works, sadly. So why even change? Why do better? For what? It doesn't serve us, and you guys seem not to care. Now here's where Battlefield 6 comes in. Battlefield hasn't exactly been on a winning streak. We all remember 2042. Yeah, we don't gotta relive that. And if you weren't there, good for you. But suddenly, Battlefield 6 is being talked about like a return to form. Better focus on core gameplay, better destruction, better pacing, better communication. And you wanna know why? Because the FPS space is crowded again. You've got Call of Duty, like I said earlier, fighting to keep its crown, indie shooters doing crazy creative stuff, and live service games actually competing for time, not just money. Battlefield doesn't just need to exist anymore. It needed to be better. And that pressure, that's a good thing. Competition forces studios to finish their games, respect player feedback, innovate instead of just recycle, and stop treating us like walking wallets. When companies are scared to lose, yes, you win. Not because they suddenly grew a conscience, but because they finally have to earn your time again. And this isn't just about Battlefield either, by the way. Anytime a genre gets competitive, the quality goes up, risk goes up, creativity goes up. That's how we get classics. That's how we get real innovation. That's how gaming moves forward as a whole. The real interesting thing I think about the whole Battlefield becoming like a real competitor again is you literally see like people coming from Call of Duty and playing Battlefield probably for the first time or probably not in a long time. And it feels like a fresh air to them. Like, it feels like, oh my God, finally we're playing a game that's actually good in the genre that we care about, which is military shooters. And the reason why I know that the Call of Duty fans feel this way is because, like I said earlier, they didn't improve. You were on top of the space for however long you were. Like, I'm pretty sure it's at minimum a decade. And I feel like you guys kind of just fucking played around with it. Like, you never really wanted to put that passion that you had that got you there to keep you there. And I feel like that is a huge issue when we're talking about things that are on top of the charts, or just being the most popular or whatever, especially in this space. And you're setting a precedent that sameness and doing the same thing over and over again, or just simply making things just good enough, is enough for you to be on top of the charts and sell all over again. And the message in itself is terrible, but it's also even worse when this is like nothing else besides you just taking advantage of the people who support you, which is a lot of people. A lot of people play Call of Duty. A lot of people, that's the only game that they ever even play. And for you to have that and kind of treat it as if like they're always going to be there, or that they have to play this game, and it shows in the gameplay and you could feel it when you're playing, and all of these ridiculous updates are coming and not fixing the issues that the community is literally telling you that they're having over and over and over again. I feel like you deserve to go down a little bit. You don't really deserve to call yourself a top dog in any genre if all you're going to do is, like I said, just put out products that are just simply good enough. Nobody wants to spend thousands of hours just playing something that's good enough. Nobody wants to invest possibly thousands of dollars into a game that is never going to improve. So what do? I guess one day you just wait and a Battlefield 6 trailer comes out, or the Battlefield 6 demo, or whatever the beta test comes out. People go over there and say, I might as well try it because we already know what we're getting with Call of Duty, the same thing we've been getting the past 5 or so years. And not only do they enjoy it, they love it. They love it so much that this game that is a huge deal for your company, Black Ops is a huge deal for that company. When it gets released, you notice like immediately that a large chunk of the player base has just simply just left. It's like they just hopped off the hamster wheel. They just said enough is enough. And the main reason that happened is because Battlefield was in that boat at one point in time. Maybe like, I guess you could say like whichever one was at the top, but they were in the boat of having a very strong player base. And they played around with it with the launch of their last game and the updates being kind of weird for that. And instead of releasing another one, because they don't do yearly cycles like Call of Duty does, instead of just releasing another one, I feel like they really went back to the drawing board. Like whatever focus groups they had that was telling them like, this is what Battlefield players want from Battlefield, they said this next game is going to be that and purely that, and then we'll just add on to that as we go along. And the only reason they got to that point, which is the whole point of this video, is because Call of Duty ate their lunch. The thing about competition with corporations or just things that just want to have your money is we should at the bare minimum be able to have something that we genuinely enjoy. Like you guys have all the metrics in the world that'll tell you that these players will play this game all year. They'll spend however much money, but as soon as it comes to what's enjoyable for the player base, you guys just turn a blind eye, and all of a sudden the money is good enough not to improve things, and it just becomes just an okay game. And it gets really annoying if you play an okay game for 1,000 hours, then yeah, I would want to try something different too. My personal experience in this genre is, I feel like it mainly is Call of Duty and Battlefield, but for this PlayStation 5 generation, I played a lot of Call of Duty. Like I said, when Warzone dropped in 2020, it was so fun. It was fun as hell. And they did have a point to where that even improved from the initial launch point to where it got better. And then it feels like it got worse again. It feels like they just were just switching things just to switch it, or I'm not really sure what goes on. It seems like it's a lot of moving parts that goes with these Call of Duty titles. So I don't know if they just say, okay, now you guys do Warzone this year, and then they pass it off to the next guys and say you do War. I don't know, but all I know is that game didn't really improve much over the 5 years that it had my personal attention span, and I stopped playing it. Like around February this year, I uninstalled Warzone and I didn't play it for months and months and months. Then boom, here comes Battlefield, a game that I haven't thought about in not even this console generation. This is the first time I've even played Battlefield on the PlayStation 5. So for them to come back and seize that moment, because let's get this straight. I don't think that they have a heart and Activision doesn't. I think they look at the same metrics and they notice the same thing that Call of Duty is noticing now, and they said we cannot do this again with another title. And they were forced to create and give us exactly what we wanted from a Battlefield game, and they succeeded. So far they've succeeded, and Battlefield is a really, really fun game. When you hop on and play it, it just feels really, really good to play. And that's the point where competition is so important, because they know that if I can go anywhere else and get a better experience, not even just a better experience, an experience that will hold me for longer than your mediocre experience holds me, now it forces you to make better product. And I'm not really sure why. Well, no, I know why it is, because of corporations and shareholders. That all they care about is metrics. But the thing that I don't understand with shareholders is, if your main goal is to make the most money possible, or your main goal is to have people play these games for the longest time possible, wouldn't you want like the innovation to come before anything else? Like before you send out another update to change the way you can get skins or change the way you level up, or wouldn't you want to like fix the gameplay experience first? And it kind of confuses me that because it's not just a gaming thing. Like I think if you were selling bed sheets, bro, even if you wanted people to use these bed sheets for the next however many years, you would have to put out quality bed sheets. Like I don't understand why, when it comes to not just gaming but like art in particular, that these companies just don't put the best product out when they already know they have everything else solved. Basically, like Battlefield had it solved. I mean, Call of Duty had it solved. They had the player base, they had the hours, they had the money they were making. You could have really did something that I don't want to bring up Fortnite because it's not a first-person shooter, but I have to bring it up. You could have did something that Fortnite is doing, to where, yeah, they have a lot of things going on in Fortnite, whether that's your type of game or it's not. Fortnite updates its game. Fortnite has a very user friendly player experience. There's so much things to do in Fortnite, and that's because I know for a fact that they actually care about maximizing the time that they get from people, because they know that they're spending all of this money. And it's kind of funny because the competition from Fortnite ironically made Call of Duty start to be worse. I feel like they tried to do too much copying and not stick to the things that make their game so special. Because Call of Duty at one point was a special franchise. But like I said, now it's not just Call of Duty. You're not the lone wolf in this military shooter. Now Battlefield 6 is right there next to you. And for now, it's toe-to-toe. But let's say when the next Call of Duty drops and you get smoked 2 years in a row, because Battlefield is not going anywhere. They're not going to drop a Battlefield 7 next year. They're just going to keep improving on this already solid game, which is the right move in my opinion. And just keep the updates going and try to make the user base the best that it is. And competition created that. So competition isn't toxic. Monopolies are. And if Battlefield 6 really delivers, that's not just a win for Battlefield fans. That's a win for all of us. Because the best games come from studios that know they cannot afford to miss.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.